Talk about a crazy day. We've got wild stories plus your questions. So let's get started.
We're going to seize their yachts, their luxury homes, and other ill-begotten gains of Putin's kleptocracy. Kleptocracy. And the guys who are the kleptocracies. Of Putin's kleptocracy.
Oh, remember, folks, that guy is the President of the United States of America. That guy, he's been an embarrassment to himself, his family, the country, everyone he comes across, well, or we should say poops across, laughs at him, or is disgusted by him, or feels groped by him, literally, or worse. Folks, welcome to the zoo. It is Sunday Night Live, and I'm coming at you from a secret, undisclosed location known as Mom's office. Happy Mother's Day to all, and happy SHTF Mother's Day to you mothers who know what kind of trouble we're in. And literally, folks, happy Mother's Day. But time and SHTF wait for no man nor woman to be ready to be prepared. Do you have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense? Do you have a plan? Do you understand that 10-mile radius that's around you? Because that's where things are going to get nasty. We have some amazing stuff to talk about, but this is the zoo where we bring all of our patrons with the Prepared Mind Network, and we bring everyone from YouTube and say, you're invited. Let's get it on. Let's talk about what's happening. And it's not going to get better. We have some incredible, incredible things happening, right? Why do I come at you from undisclosed locations? Why do I move myself around? Sometimes I'm in the bunker. Sometimes I'm at Hoomhead Shop. Sometimes I'm at Mom's. Sometimes I'm on the U-308 submarine. And every now and again, on a rare occasion, I head back to the RMZ just to remind myself why I'm actually here in the United States of America. Thank you, everyone, for sponsoring the show by being on Patreon. It's only $2 a month. $2 measly dollars. That won't even buy, folks, a cup of coffee. Won't even buy a cup of coffee, right? This old cup, this looks like something I made back in high school. Probably did. Thanks, Mom. Anyways, folks, it's wild. But this is Sunday night. It is live right now. Everyone's invited. It's open. Now, if you're not a subscriber, you cannot comment. If you hit the subscribe button, you're going to have to wait 30 minutes before you'll be allowed to comment. And if you do comment, we don't like trolls here. And so Uman, with his mighty blue wrench, keeps law and order in the comment section. This is one of the most constructive shows on the internet. You want to get on the superhighway and go somewhere that actually does something? You come to the Prepared Mind Network. Bring your topics. Hit the super chat button. It's right up there, super chat button. And you can ask a question. You can be a star, right? I'll make you famous. Or you could just be quiet, nonchalant, and ask about a topic, a person, an event. Ask about the future. Ask about the past. You could play Stump the John and Tell a Lie, Tell the Truth. And then I will look at the things you say and create some discussion points. Now, here's a tip. What we talk about here, you can take with you to work. You can take it to break time, the water cooler, the coffee machine. You can address it to other friends and say, hey, what do you think of this topic I heard this weekend? This John guy is out there, and he talks about some interesting things. What do you think? Right? Let people answer you. And then say, you better get prepared, because you know the only conclusion they can come up with is it is hit the fan. So, yeah, you've got super chat donations. Also, we have the super thank you button up there. And you can hit that anytime, not just on a live broadcast. And what these funds do is any funds that come to us, It creates more fun, right? It supports what we do at the Prepared Mind Network. We have the broadcast team, the broadcast crew. It's not just me. We have researchers in the background. We have people digging around. We have people doing live on the scene reporting, bringing us information. A lot of people want to stay anonymous, and I get it. And so when people give me information and say, hey, leave my name out of this, it is respected. It's understood. Not everyone wants to be in front of the camera, getting an earful and a face full, and then next time they go out in public. But I'll tell you what, I don't give a shit. Bring it on, bitches, right? I'm ready to fight. I think many of us are. And I'm not talking about violence, folks. No. We couldn't talk about that. Anyways, Darcy, if you're watching, Darcy kicks off every show with a $50 PayPal super chat donation. And you can do PayPal, you can do CashApp. Darcy does a PayPal one every time starts off the show. Darcy, you forgot to do the question, so email it to me. And there are people like Bonnie Blue and Darcy. There's people like Steve, right? No Tolerance USMC. I hope you're watching live, Steve. He's one of our fellow veterans, served in Vietnam as a combat Marine. We've got great people on here behind the scenes doing great work, sending information question. We got people like Fuzzy. We got people like P. We got people like John. We got all over the place. We got big Mr. Skylight out on the West Coast. And we've got big, I've got to be careful with the names here. Got Big Frank up by DC, right up in Minnesota. We got the urban Aboriginal Rudy. We got people all over the country. We have eyes and ears everywhere. So we kicked off with a $50 super chat donation, and it's your turn. What do you want to talk about? It's completely up to you. I've got a shit pile of stuff, and we're going to start, though, with Rooster Cogburn checking in. He says, $5 super chat donation. He says, hey, John, did you see that Kevin Samuels died at 56? He was also pokey. He got the hokey pokey. I'm thinking it was related. Your thoughts? 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years, I'd say, hey, look, people got to die. Celebrities die in threes. I would say, it's okay. Super athletes, they fall down and have heart attacks too. One of the most famous athletes in the world of sports that I was involved in died of a massive heart attack. Massive heart attack. He was from Iceland, right? He was the world's strongest man for a couple years. Died of a massive heart attack. So that happens, but now, right? It's a beard stroker, it's a head scratcher. It's like, how many people are dying? How many people are sick, right? And it's not, when it's famous people and they come out and say something like, probably the top 5 guitar player of all time in the world, right? You know who I'm talking about? He comes out and says, well, I got the Jim Jones juice. And all of a sudden, I can't feel my fingers. Eric Clapton, folks. Eric Clapton was actually on tour promoting the Don't Do It. And they tried canceling him. They tried screwing with him. They tried buying him off. Right? The man almost lost his ability to play the guitar. Good. He's been playing the guitar, folks, professionally in the music scene since the 60s, if not maybe even sooner, but certainly as a professional. Eric Clapton, right? One of the greats. He's like, you know what? This is not how this is supposed to work. This is not good for people. All right. Okay. Darcy checks in and says, I had no question, just wishing all the moms happy Mother's Day. Thank you, Darcy, for kicking us off with that $50 super chat. And yes, happy Mother's Day, everyone. It's genuine, folks. I wish this was the America of apple pie. I wish this was the America that you and I grew up with, but they have screwed it all up. Now, I've been putting it together with people like you, other people that I know that they don't want to be part of the show. This afternoon, I was talking with a friend of a friend who's a very highly intelligent person. And, Everyone comes at SHTF from a different angle, and they see it, and they know it, and they go, this is intentional. There's no way it couldn't be, right? I've heard that so many times. Some people are a little more subdued, but they know it's bad. They know shit's nasty. They know it's all wrong. Quite incredible. Quite incredible. The person I met, they've flown all over the country supporting politicians, big time donors, super fans of the president, Trump, and others. And they see what kind of trouble we're in. The question I always ask is, are you prepared? Now, this guy, pretty well off, has propane, off the grid estate. There's all of us preppers. A little guy like me, lives in the bunker. Other people have a very modest home. Some people have much more extravagant homes. But everyone who's a prepper is doing something to get ready for more trouble, whether it's self-defense, electricity, communications, water, food. It's incredible what I've seen. When I meet people, I go, how are you prepared? Once I figure it out, and they tell me, and it's like, ooh, you are serious. Some people, folks, actually make me look like a freaking lightweight. Interesting stuff. Now, let's get back on this. Well, that person died. That person got sick. This person's dropping out of sports. Bruce Willis, his brain kind of went on the fritz, right? Like taking it. Remember 30 years ago, you turn the channel, it goes from a perfectly clear television station to freaking static, bug races on your screen. That's what happened to Bruce Willis. Gee, I wonder, zap, what happened to Bruce Willis? Anyways, we're continuing to see that the Jim Jones juice doesn't have the effect they say it will. And we're told, well, you got to follow the science. Follow the science, right? Okay. Now, the fully juicinated and fully juice boosted New York Governor Kathy Hochul, whatever the hell her name is, she is tested positive for cerveza bug. Isn't this fascinating? The science says that the definition of the Jim Jones juice means you'll never get it. You're protected. That's the whole point of getting jaxed up. No, folks, it doesn't work the way they say it does. Yet they're continuing to push it. How many of you have heard, folks? How many of you have heard over the last week that we're going to have trouble come fall? The end of summer, fall, we're going to be in a full-blown pandemic again. Well, we got to keep things ready. We got to have emergency plans in place. That's interesting, folks, how they can see the future. I'll tell you what future I see, one where people fight back and say, no way. But I'm continuing to see down here in the South, whether I'm in Texas or Mississippi or anywhere else, almost said some stuff. Doesn't matter where I'm at, I see people not wearing masks in the South. And when I do see someone wearing a mask, their eyes are about this big because they're scared to death that no one else is. It's like, you are an outsider. You're from some Democrat fucking shithole somewhere where you've got to wear masks all the time. And I like it when they start. This is another one. I was sitting having dinner last night while on my way, and it was patio, little outside dive, and someone walked by with a mask hanging off of their ear, and I was like, they're trying to be free. They're trying to be free, but they just can't let it go. They know they're supposed to be wearing it, but down in the South, no one is. Well, maybe no one will notice, right? If I just hang it off of my ear, right? What about wearing your wife's bra or her panties? Or ladies, would you ever wear your husband's freaking tighty-whitey dingies on your ear or on your head like a hat and then expect no one would notice? Well, in the land of fuck the mask, when we see a mask, whether it's on your face or hanging off of your ear, we know, there's not very many hamsters on the wheel turning the gears, right? We know that the lights are on, but no one's home, right? We know that the elevator doesn't go all the way top. We know you don't have both oars in the water. We know. We know. Unbelievable what is happening. Okay, let us move on if we shall. You guys, you get to pick the topics. It is your show. It is Sunday Night Live. It is Mother's Day. It's absolutely Mother's Day. And Carport Carl checks in with a 223 super chat donation. One of my favorite numbers. My other favorite number is 556-762. We get all kinds of numbers. 1776. Rutro, I guess, like Big Marge Taylor Greene, Congresswoman, representative out of democratically stole Georgia, but democratically not run Georgia. But there's plenty of rhinos in Georgia. But she's a real Republican, conservative, constitutionalist in Georgia. Yeah, she, wow, unbelievable. Yeah, you can say 1776, and it doesn't mean you're a terrorist. So yeah, she can. The judge told her, you're allowed to run for office. Incredible. So Carport Carl says, hey, Village, he is on YouTube. Go watch is the best way to explain Kevin Samuels. Good idea. There's so much going on out there, folks. Who has been injured? Who has been killed by it? Why doesn't it go away? Literally, why doesn't it go away? Let me get rid of this and move along, right? There's a study out there, folks. Why is it that we have celebrities, sports figures, politicians getting sick, getting injured, dying when they should have stronger immune systems? Well, there's a study out there, folks, and it has found something quite fascinating. Study finds that more than 25%, or there's more than a 25% increase in cardiovascular events. That's a nice way of saying heart problems. 25% increase in the age groups of 16 to 39. And this is in the nation of Israel. Nation of Israel, folks. And that has a very, very, very high degree, right? Very, very high degree of percentage people juicinated. So the events, cardiac arrest, acute coronary syndrome. Question I have for you is, why would you take a chance of that? Right? Why would you take a chance with that? It is unbelievable that the amount of risk, the amount of trouble people risk in order to, I don't know, be free. You see, this is the question I think that a lot of people don't seem to work on in their head very well. Is they're like, well, I want to be able to go places. I want to be able to do things. I want to be able to shop. I want to be able to go to work. I need to be able to go in public. And if I don't get juicinated, then I won't be allowed to. But if I do what I'm told to do, then I can be free. Well, if you do what you're mandated to do, you're not free. You're admitting you're a slave. You're subject to someone else's permissions. This is really what this breaks down to, folks. It boils down to, right? And it's just unbelievable. And this is what kills me. I mean, when we break it down to a percentage, 25% higher. Well, wait a minute, right? What kind of numbers are we talking about? You know, from this age group, age 16 to 39. Of the 30,262 cardiac arrests and 60,398 acute cardiac syndrome calls, right, included in the study population, which is 16 to 39, 30,000 folks and another 60,000 for ACS. So a combined, folks, 90,000 people between the ages of 16 to 39 in a population pool of 3.5 million people. Percents here, folks, percent, right? Percent. It's a big number. Almost 100,000 people out of 3.5 million have had heart attacks and acute coronary syndrome. Do you realize how screwed up that is? That is a ton of people that didn't have it before. Unbelievable, folks. I'm not taking it, but it's still here. It's still a major factor. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this weekend for me, I couldn't believe all of the BS that's popped out about the Roe v. Wade issue. This is such a big deal to the liberals. It is such a big deal, which tells me that it is intentionally being done. They have to have it. The Democrats don't have a political campaign. They don't have a political platform. They don't have a foundation on which to stand to discuss their policies. Name a policy that the Democrats have. Open borders? Get everyone juicinated. Let's see, what policy do they have? What economic policy? Oh, we have Build Back Better, which is a failure. The people don't like it. They don't like inflation. They don't like the cost of energy. They don't like the cost of food. They don't like everything Biden's doing there. They don't have a platform. So if you can't win, you just start calling people names and attacking them. Well, let's start with this, folks. I want to know how this is not a hate crime. Godless pro-abortion group has announced it's going to start basically, if not physically assaulting people, they're going to attack the symbols of religion. They say, quote, "We will be burning the Eucharist to show our disgust." So these wackos are going to start burning stuff. Now, what if this was a Muslim church? What if this was Muslim material? Their Quran, right? That's not part of a building, but if you burn it, what happens? Oh, shit hits the fan pretty fast, doesn't it? Right? But these people want to burn the Eucharist. This is their assault on morality, folks. But do you think it's going to stop there? Do you really believe that? Well, I'll tell you what. It's already gone well past that. It has. It's gone well past it. They're going to attack the institution of religion, because religion, despite all of its shortcomings, teaches morality, teaches responsibility, teaches accountability, which is different than responsibility. I have a responsibility to go to work. I have a responsibility to take care of my kids. Accountability is if you don't go to work and you don't take care of your kids, bad things happen. You get fired, right? You end up with trouble. These people are crazy. There's a pro-life group in Madison, Wisconsin. It's a political action committee called the Wisconsin Family Action. It was firebombed on Mother's Day. Firebombed, folks. And spray painted on the exterior wall was the message, follow me here. If abortions aren't safe, then you aren't either. This is saying, give me what I want and demand, or I'm going to commit acts of violence and hate. Now, again, I'm not one for hate crimes. Hey, you commit arson, it's arson. You don't need hate arson, right? If you're going to destroy church property, I don't need it to be a hate crime, but this is the game they play. So let's use their language. Attacking someone for their religious reasons is hate. You're not allowed to attack Muslims right? You're not allowed to attack Jews. You're not allowed to attack Buddhists. I don't think anyone really messes with them currently. But this is where we're at, folks. So, yeah, the pro-choice, meaning the pro-baby killers, they want to go after churches because they teach morality, accountability, responsibility. They teach human freaking decency, for Pete's sakes, and respect for others. Like I said, I know in times past, Protestants and Catholics have been jackasses. We get it, the old, witch hunts and the whole Inquisition. I get it, right? But where are we at today? Have we learned something? Religion? Yeah. It's very personal. You don't get to go around killing other people and pushing your views on them with violence. But that's precisely what the radical left-wing ding-dongs do. And so it's believable, is it not, that they, right, are a radical ideology / religion, because that is how most of these religions act in the very beginning. They're radical. The radical anti-Christians at the beginning of Christianity used to throw Christians to the lions in the Colosseum. Once there were enough Christians, they started running around and burning everyone else's buildings, like the Library of Alexandria. It's crazy, folks. Get your questions in, your super chat questions, and we'll answer what you want to talk about and see what the heck is going on. We got Diorce in the building with a $45 super chat donation. And get this. I had to stop listening to people like Canadian Prepper and Dabu77 and proudly unsubscribed both of them. Dabu77 really rubbed me the wrong way, insinuating that veterans are somehow to blame for future food shortages. 45 ACP. I'm telling you, that's my favorite cartridge, folks, really. There's people in the prepper community that there's people we like and people we don't. I get it, Diorce. I get it. Behind the scenes, we all have our favorites and our not favorites. But to insinuate that veterans are somehow to blame for future food shortages is absolutely ridiculous, right? Veterans, and this is kind of a sad thing, we really don't have the ability to come together and unite in such form and fashion that we can march down the street and cause trouble. We're either retired and old or we have jobs to work, right? We don't have non-government organizations, NGOs like those that are sponsored by George Soros that would pay us a monthly salary to go be a jackass and cause trouble, right? So we can't cause food shortages at the street level and run around and burn farms and run around and ruin food supplies or water supplies and attack, right, the world. We don't have the political, I don't want to say we don't have the savvy, but we don't have the organization, right, as veterans to affect policy. You and I have the ability to call, text, write, send smoke signals, carrier pigeons, tie a note to a plastic rubber tipped gummy bear arrow and launch it towards the person we need to make some changes to policy. In other words, we can talk to politicians, tell them what we think, but we don't come at them as some kind of a vicious group. And so veterans are to blame because they said they don't like SpaghettiOs. And so now there's no more SpaghettiOs and there's going to be a food shortage. This is ridiculous. Who is responsible, folks? For me, it's really easy. When we were free, you and I, and we could do whatever the hell we wanted, there were no problems. But the government, the federal government, followed by the state governments, have all said they want centralized management, top-down control, where everything they said rained down on us. They want to talk to us about the environment. They want to talk to us about regulations and about employees this and chemicals that, and taxes and governance and all their bullshit. They're to blame because they have taken centralized top-down control and screwed us with it But yeah, they want to blame us. And I really have had a lot of questions as of late. As I look at our subscriber count, we're sitting at 80,000 or 81,600 on YouTube. Why are we stalled while other channels continue to grow and grow and grow? When they get a message out, like I said, I don't, it just seems suspicious that some people continue to grow in popularity and their message is just off. It's just off. How come some people can say some of the most outlandish shit and they don't get strikes? But I say one word starting with the letter V and I get a strike. It's incredible, right? It has to do with censorship. So if someone is putting a message out there that the powers that be want to be out there, they are allowed to say whatever they want as long as they put out those other special little messages. But you and I want to talk about topics honestly, openly, as loudly as we want, and we get censored. And a lot of people don't believe that's really possible. Yet, look at what's going on with Twitter. The moment Musk buys it, they free up Tucker Carlson. They freed up other politicians, other superstars in the world of Twitter, right? They took their foot off their neck. All of a sudden, they're back on live. They got their numbers growing. And then all of these fake channels start losing subscribers. It's a form of censorship. And most people have no idea. Unless you're neck deep in this shit, you have no idea. But you guys pay very special attention. And you notice, why is this guy making this message come out? It makes vets look bad. It makes patriots look bad. How many preppers have come out and talked a bunch of shit about the Canadian truckers? Putting them down. Oh, these guys are terrorists. It's like, wait, dude, I thought you were a patriot. Now you're putting it down. Interesting stuff. How censorship isn't always just silencing me and you. Sometimes it's about letting others say all kinds of stuff as long as they bring the government's very special message to the forefront.
Have you any idea how successful censorship is on TV? Don't know the answer? Successful, isn't it?
Censorship can be extremely successful, especially when you combine, say, two pieces of truth and a lie. But the damage that's done, right? I mean, I've been listening, folks, to Dabu 7 for a long time, a decade at least. And, he's a valuable source of information, opinion, ideas, thoughts, etc. But, I don't believe everything he says. What I do believe and understand is the things that I see. And I see that there's going to be food shortages. I see that there are issues with ammunition. I see there's problems with the First Amendment and free speech. I see there's big problems with the Second Amendment that's coming. I see we're having all kinds of problems with left-wing special interest groups using violence, right? Those things are real. And when we say it has hit the fan, it's because it has hit the fan. I want to give you another example of it. And get your super chat donations in if you've got a question. But hey, this one was really important. Our United States Supreme Court, it was supposed to be sacrosanct, untouchable, above the political fray. Well, it's been reported that Justice of the Court Samuel Alito and his family have now been moved to a secure location. Because they're looking at, in fact, Justice Alito, he is the one that wrote the draft opinion that Roe v. Wade, it was supposed to be a draft majority opinion that Roe v. Wade is wrong, completely wrong. It's not a federal issue. It is a states' rights issue. So each of the 50 states can decide for themselves. But the top-down centralized power masters and their puppets, they don't like that. So they decided they're going to dox, that is, expose the justices' names, addresses, whatever personal information they have, and their families. And so now they're receiving direct physical threats. And that is supposed to be extremely illegal. And it is. It's extremely illegal. It is a felony, in fact, to threaten a judge who is going to make a legal decision. I mean, you want to influence the judge? Send them some nice flowers and a card. Hey, thank you for doing a great job. Love Planned Parenthood supporters of Minneapolis, whatever, right? But you can't bribe them. You can't threaten them. You can't extort them. Or at least you're not supposed to do any of those things. But it looks like the Democrats and their cohorts on the street, these raging liberal left-wing dumbass lunatics, and they're doing it. They're absolutely doing it. Right? We've got, I knew it was Heidi doing the $10 super chat donation coming out of PayPal. Thank you, Heidi, very much for looking out for us. And thank you for checking up on me earlier this week. It's been a rough week, right? And I went through and I was like, okay, going to do the Mother's Day thing, get a little bit of wind under my wings and get some relaxed time in. But folks, you can't get away from it now. It has hit the fan. So Heidi, you keep on keeping on doing what you do, and we will here too. And we got Chewy Weather with a $5 super sticker. It's really funny. When I first started the show, and I first got the channel accepted into the monetization system, this was years and years and years and years and years ago. YouTube had a thing where you could do the super sticker, or you could just do the thank you. It was like, you can hit that button. You can donate some money to the worthy cause, right? What's our cause here? Freedom, liberty, freedom of speech, helping people understand they need to get prepared. All those messages you guys support with your donations, right? Sunday Night Live is about the Get the Fuck Back and Stay Back Fund, the GTFB and SB, and you guys support it. YouTube took that away at one point. They took it away. And now it's back because they're losing subscribers. They're losing information. They're losing people. They've got their sock puppets out there that they want to be important and powerful. And it's not working. It's really not working. And they're coming apart. The Young Turks are losing it. I'm waiting for more people. I really am waiting for more of these liberal Democrats to say, if this happens, then I'm going to leave America. Right? Okay, why don't you go to a country, far, far away? It's absolutely unbelievable what is happening. There's so much to discuss. I don't even know where to go. This is why I rely on you guys on Sunday Night Live, because I've got all my information. But on Sunday Night Live, your super chats direct the show more. Now, outside of Justice Kavanaugh's personal home, he has protesters lining the streets. There's media there reporting. Do you think that's undue pressure? Do you think that's negative pressure? Well, guess what? That is an absolutely illegal thing to do. Now, apparently, this protest was organized by one of his neighbors who knows who he is and where he lives. So this neighbor let everyone know they need to come down there and protest. They're the protest organizer, but it's an illegal protest. Number one, why haven't the police removed these people? Told them, you can't be here. You're not allowed to do this. This is unlawful. This is a felony. Once again, I guess the Metropolitan Police, it's not the sheriff's office, the Metropolitan Police are not going to do their jobs. They have totally ignored, folks, totally ignored the law. Now, here is the law. Section 1507, picketing or parading, right? Meaning protesting, whatever form of protest you want, whoever with the intent of interfering with, obstructing, or impeding. So they could say, well, we're not interfering with anything, or we're not obstructing anything, or impeding, right? Yeah, you're doing all those things. Interfering with, obstructing, or impeding the administration of justice, or with the intent of influencing any judge, juror, witness, or court officer in the discharge of his duty. Well, I'm sure it should say of her duty as well, but I think all of us smart people know that, it goes both ways. His or her duty. Pickets or parades in or near a building housing a court of the United States or or in a near or in or near a building or residence occupied or used by such judge, juror, witness, or court officer, or with such intent uses any sound truck or similar device, or resorts to any other demonstration, protest, in or near any such building or residence shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 1 year or both. So this is criminal, folks. While confronting a school board is not, right? You go and talk to your school board and they don't like the subject matter you bring up, like, hey, why are you guys grooming children for pedophilia? Hey, why are you guys teaching critical race theory so kids hate themselves and hate each other and hate their parents and hate their country? You do that, and the FBI calls you a domestic terrorist. You do that, and the president of the United States calls you a domestic terrorist. But you can go protest loudly, make wild accusations, threaten a Supreme Court justice, and you can get away with it, right? So I'm going to ask you a very important question. Very important question. Does anyone at this point in time, do any of you doubt that the United States government in Washington, D.C., do any of you doubt the U.S. D.C. government isn't a rogue pile of seeming bull excrement, worthy of its own declaration, denouncing its illegitimacy and calling for a replacement of leadership? Now, I've thought about this, folks. How many of us would need to protest in order for the government to say, you're right, we're wrong, we need to get out? Right? We don't need to throw out the Constitution. Let's not throw out the baby with the bathwater. Or the swamp water, if you will. We know the Constitution is an excellent document written by a bunch of white guys. Holy cow. You mean white guys with an education in philosophy, science, history? Just because they wrote the Constitution and they happen to be white is wrong? That's fucking brilliant. I don't care if they were green. It created the world's greatest country. They made America, which became great. But we don't have to throw out the Constitution. We just need to throw out all the members of this government who are completely rogue, whether it's the police or any branch of government. How do we do that? Well, John, you've got to use the election system. Well, the election system is corrupt and it allows the corruption of politicians. This is going to become a bigger and bigger question. Some people want to secede. Other people say we should throw the government out. But we don't need to get rid of the Constitution. The Constitution is fine. It's the administration, or rather the lack of accountability. And there's no penalty. I think there needs to be a penalty. What do you guys think? If you get elected to do a job and you flagrantly violate the Constitution by knowingly and intentionally trying to destroy it, disrupt it, you're gone. You're going to jail. You'll be charged with treason. I think that'd be fine. I think that would stop a lot of this. There needs to be a penalty for violating your oath, failing to do your duty, like the police have taken an oath and said, I swear to do this and that and protect the country against all enemies, foreign and domestic, blah, 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 so help me, right? Yet they won't get these protesters out from in front of Kavanaugh's house. How does that instill any confidence, folks, at all? I want to continue with this. If you've got something on your mind, hit that super chat donation button. If you got anything on your mind, you bring it out. This is your chance on YouTube, right? Now, Patreon, you guys can be here all week long, Monday through Friday, when we do our Q&A and monologue section for $2 a month on Patreon, folks. I recommend going there. Less than a cup of coffee, 7 cents a day, and you can promote freedom and liberty and the message of accountability for government and us getting prepared for shit getting worse. Because I think it's got to get a lot worse before it's going to get any better. But I want to see you guys over at Patreon. But Sunday Night Live is everyone's chance to do a super chat donation and come on here. And now we've got Tapped Line with a $10 super chat donation. And he says, peace, man, and thank you for all your work. My numbers are 357, the hand cannon, and 30-06. Oh, Well, Semper Fi, man. God bless you. I love those numbers. 30-06 in modern days. Hold on to Opie Waddell for me there, Jolene. 30-06 in modern days has been thought of as a deer hunting cartridge. But believe it or not, back in World War I and then World War II, right, the Garand, I think it was used in both conflicts, shot the 30-06 cartridge. And then they decided to standardize NATO Western forces, and they rolled it in under the 308 7.62 by 5.9, and that became the 30 caliber cartridge. The 30-06 was a military cartridge, but they actually kind of detuned it into the 308, which is still a very respectable, nasty ass cartridge. But the 30-06, it's like the military 308 with a good dose of high caffeine coffee behind it. Anyways, thank you very much there, Tap Line. And 357, I've got two of them. I got my granddad's, and then I've got my model 686 with a 6-inch barrel, silhouette sights, and a very smooth trigger. It's in stainless, beautiful gun. Designated the Distinguished Combat Model. Folks, if you're going to have self-defense, please make yourself familiar with it. Be safe, learn safe handling, safe effectiveness, right? How to use it, and then understand if you ever have to use it, there's going to be trouble. But I think it's better to be tried by 12 than carried by 6. That's the old saying. But you don't really get tried by 12 anymore, do you? You get tried by the mob that's outside the courthouse. You get tried by a lying, cheating, stealing, sniveling district attorney and prosecution team that'll do anything they can to screw you over. We live in rough times. You have to choose, though. Are you going to allow someone to victimize you and attack you, or are you going to stand up for yourself? I hope that you live in a jurisdiction where the chief of police is decent. I hope that you live in a jurisdiction where the sheriff's office is pro-law and order, pro-justice, pro-Second Amendment, pro-Constitution. There's a lot more of these sheriffs now are popping up, folks. They're starting to say, hey, we see the problem too. And that's where you and I come in. By supporting this channel, supporting the spread of the message of liberty. We need patriotic Americans. We need patriotic parents. We need patriotic old people. All of us people over the age of 50, we need us to be patriotic and loud and proud. We need patriotic veterans, right? It's time for veterans to stop feeling like we can't fight back. We can, and we should. It's incredible that I've learned over the years that people who didn't serve the country do have a great deal of respect for veterans. Because whether or not you served in combat, you represent a mentality of goodness and righteousness, right? Loving your country and loving your fellow man. And people respect that. That is why the government, that is why these leftists hate veterans, because veterans are willing to do so much. They want to be out front. They're very passionate about their beliefs. And so they want veterans to look bad. They want to say we're the reason for food shortages. And may as well say veterans are the cause of the fuel shortage. Veterans are the cause of all the carbon in the air. What else are we going to blame? Blame veterans for what? Climate change? The border wall? Yeah, it's all veterans. Stupid is what it is. Absolutely stupid. But by supporting this channel, folks, we take topics off the shelf, put them in front of us, and examine them. Okay. Now I want you to think about this. Oh, wait, who do we have next, Jolene? Yeah, we're going to move from that. We're going to we got Opie Waddell with a $5 super chat donation. He says, stump you. You want to stump me, huh? I tell you what, try to stump the John. Here we go. So we've got, he says, stump you. Who are LBJ, FDR, JDT, BHO, GWK, JFK, and FJB? Okay. LBJ is Lyndon Baines Johnson. He was president from 1963, about 1 hour after JFK took a bullet to the head. And his social campaign for social justice under another name was the Great Society. And he spent and started the spending of trillions of dollars ultimately in social programs, welfare, etc. FDR is Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the great Democrat president, pile of crap, from the 1930s and 40s. He had several terms as president, more than normal. And quite possibly, folks, there was an assassination attempt on him that was attempted, and then maybe he did die from an assassination attempt. Anyways, he's responsible for one of the most famous fuck-ups of all. In addition to deficit spending, using John Maynard Keynes's policies in economics, which are now being transliterated and into modern monetary theory. FDR gave us Social Security. Now we go to JDT. That would be JDT. Isn't it DJT? Donald J. Trump. Barack Hussein Barry Soetoro Obama is BHO. George W. Bush. Then we got John F. Kennedy. And then, of course, fuck Joe Biden. Those are all presidents, folks. What do they have in common? Let's see. LBJ, Democrat. FDR, Democrat. JDT. You mean DJT? That'd be, well, if that's Donald J. Trump, that would be a Republican. But he used to be a Democrat. BHO, Barack Hussein, Democrat. Fuck Joe Biden, definitely a Democrat. And, of course, George W. Bush, who once he stopped his presidency, once he finished being president, he has done nothing but hug and love all over Michelle Obama, which scares a lot of people. It scares me. And then just the other day, he has said that Voldemort Zelensky is the Churchill of our time. It's hard to just say the words. Zelensky is the modern version. He's the Winston Churchill of our times. It's like, you agree with Joe Biden, you agree with Barack Obama, you agree with all these leftist wackos. Anyways, I know who they all are there. So Opie, I don't know if you stumped me, but you certainly made me think about the relation between all those people. They're also great spenders, folks. Great spenders of money. Even Trump. They have to spend. They're using John Maynard Keynes's economics of deficit spending in order to stimulate the economy. But yeah, when you think about great presidents and you think about bad presidents, what do they have in common? Anyways, thank you very much for the thought exercise, Mr. Waddell. And thank you for the super chat donation. And now we got Chewy Weather. He became a YouTube member. Thank you, Chewy Weather, very much. And folks, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe. Do it. Do it now. Yeah, subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button. Hit, right, the notification bell. It's down over here. Hit that notification bell. So anytime a video, a short, a message comes up, bam, it goes to your computer. It lets you know there's valuable information that's being shared. And as we get closer to World War III, and at first I thought, no chance of World War III. They're just creating a bunch of stupid, it's a cover story over in Ukraine. But the further we get in it, the more I realize these jackasses want World War III. And we're going to talk about it right here on Sunday Night Live. Before we get there, though, the Piping Shrike checks in. Not the Shrieking Eels, the Piping Shrike with a $10 Aussie super chat donation. If it's not Aussie, it's Argentine. He says, love you, John. Get gardening people. Grow bags and pots work also. Godspeed people. Grow bags. One of the coolest ideas I've ever seen, or it's not the coolest, but it's a great idea, is you can go buy bags of like Miracle Grow potting soil, garden soil, other soils that are either fortified or not. And you don't have to tear the bag open and pour it into a flower bed. Quite literally, you can cut a little hole, plant a seed, cut a little hole, plant a seed, cut a little hole, plant a seed. And you can turn that bag into its own pot, right? Learn different techniques for, shall we say, guerrilla gardening, because you can pick that bag up and move it. You know, it's incredible, folks. It's incredible the different ways you can garden, that you can protect yourself, feed your family, et cetera, et cetera. And things are going to get nasty. We've got a food shortage. If there was ever a time when it became time to start growing, it's now. This year, please learn how to grow, right? And if you want to do, the sprouts, right, go to Crispy Bacon's website and learn how to grow sprouts. Grow a salad every day. You can do it with 5 mayonnaise jars. You can have a fresh salad grown every day. It takes 5 days to do. You just rotate in and out. But learn how to garden. Learn how to do this stuff, because food is going to get more expensive and could even become scarce. Now, if you're over in Europe, you're especially in big trouble, right? Because get this, right? On Friday, Democrat lawmaker Seth Moulton, he announced the United States government was already at war with Russia. Now, you'll notice that I don't say America. I say United States government. The reason I say that is I want to be very clear. The people of the United States don't want war. We don't want, as a collective group, right, to destroy our world, right? That's only certain people. That's certain people within the government. And it's all in Washington, D.C. While there are some civilians that blindly support, we love you, Voldemort. Yeah, right. You know, they're idiots. Anyways, this jackass, Seth Moulton, came out and said the war, the war that's been started, not we, the people, but the government in Washington, D.C. is already at war with Russia. Right? He says, I support it because it's the right thing to do for Ukraine. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of politics involved, and there will be domestic debates here at home about the policies and whatnot. But at the end of the day, we got to realize we're at war. We're not just at war to support the Ukrainians. We're fundamentally at war, although it's through proxy with Russia, and it's important that we win. So here's what I have to say. Basically, the Democrats can just, sorry about that, folks, here at the mom's office, we don't have all of our equipment in place. Basically, the United States, we can just quietly morph. Once again, we meaning the United States government. They can just quietly morph tacit support into arming, into training, and into admitting that we provided assistance in destroying Russia's naval craft, their boats, their warships. And then we can just morph saying, well, we're behind you, Ukraine, into stating that we are at war. So you all Americans just better accept it. That's what they can do, right? Machiavellian globalists and American Democrats, folks, are profiting on this war. Hear that, peaceniks, right? Hippie asshole Democrats. Nope, we don't support your war, right? Most of these people, these hippie peaceniks, like, don't no war, man. Make love, not war. Now that's all they're about. These left-wing communist socialist types, now they want war. Why is that? Unbelievable. Where do you stand on this? I mean, do you really think that we need to go into Ukraine? Do you really think that? Do you believe that's a good idea? I mean, he starts out by saying, I support it because it's the right thing to do for Ukraine. You think the people of Ukraine want war? Do you think they want NATO and nuclear weapons and bases built in their country to increase the tension and the threat of war? So this jackass goes from A all the way to Z, man. He's sitting at the stoplight, it turns green, and just fucking takes off. It's unbelievable. They're just begging for war, and they want you to support it. I do not. I recommend that you get a hold of your political leadership at the state level, at the federal level, and tell them, no, we don't want war. Seth Moulton is a moron. The president is a moron. All right, folks, we just hit the 1 hour mark. We're over 500 people live right now. And that's more than the president of the United States gets live on his White House channel on YouTube. Isn't that incredible? And he'll get, 500 or 1,000 total, but he gets people on there long enough just to give them a thumbs down. And if you wonder, why is it we can't see thumbs downs anymore on channels? Because the president was so embarrassed by the fact that all he got were thumbs down that they stopped showing anyone's thumb down results. It was a great way to show people whether or not what you had to say was popular or not. So if Dabu7 wants to say veterans are responsible for food shortages, we should all be able to see that that message doesn't jive, it doesn't resonate. And it would send him a message. Hey, pal, what the fuck are you thinking? Crazy stuff, folks. Crazy stuff. And you can't make a lot of this stuff up. You can't. Evil Rick is here with a 270 super chat donation. 270 is another great round. It's the 30-06 cartridge, but neck down to 27 caliber, aka 7mm. He says, name any country that voted themselves out of tyranny. I tell you, man, I can't. And that is the proper answer. Is once tyranny is in a country, it will not go away. It will not acquiesce. It will not give up. It's like a Terminator. It's just going to keep on coming at you full speed ahead. The only time tyranny is defeated by a revolution. And the idea with voting every 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, 2 for reps, 4 for the president, and then 6 for senators, was that an election would be a quiet revolution. It's a quiet revolution to have an election. You either support or revolt against any candidate. And then we have the certification process of the voting, which was another form of support or deny, agree or revolt. So in 2020, we had a vote, and in 2021, there was a lot of objecting going on, and we ended up with a stinking false flag. No country voted themselves out of a tyranny. Sometimes, folks, tyrants absolutely destroy their country, absolutely destroy it so that it collapses. And the regime and its bureaucracy and its military, they're just out of power. They have to leave because the people end up rising up. Now, our government here in the United States of America has done a marvelous job at creating continuity of government schemes. And they have done more than any of us could ever dream or fathom of as far as prepping, putting aside food, energy. To what? To support themselves in case of emergency in times of unrest. Because they don't ever want to leave their power, folks. It's unbelievable. Now, like I said, you can't make this shit up. You can't make it up, right? Did we or did we not all survive the summer of 2020 when BLM and Antifa were out burning police stations, setting fire to courts, setting fire to businesses, breaking windows and looting businesses, murdering people, murdering police, assaulting police, setting police cars on fire, right? And then they say parents are the domestic terrorists. Antifa is a worldwide organization that has a loose-knit yet effective leadership, intentionally designed to aggravate and agitate believers in their cause without necessarily having a stated hierarchy. Anyways, that's what those people did. And we know it. And they're continuing to be violent, and they're back again. They're back again, threatening to burn the Supreme Court of the United States, threatening individual justices of the Supreme Court, burning and setting fire to pro-freedom, pro-life, pro-choice people. That's right, folks. Pro-life is a choice too. I'm pro-choice. I choose life. Unbelievable. You know, we're not violent. Yet, CNN has warned, they've come on the air and warned that the far right is calling for violence because of the leaked Roe v. Wade decision, right? Could it be that the FBI and Christopher Wray and Ruby Rod Rosenstein and everyone else at the FBI are planning more false flag attacks so they can blame it on, you guessed it, veterans, pro-lifers, pro-America-ers, right? Pro-freedom people. Yeah, that's what it smells like to me. They got all kinds of violence out there, but they won't stop it. But they want to point at you and me. Yeah, folks, incredible. Incredible, right? Is the mainstream media going to act as this is where this goes, folks. There's a consequence that you and I will suffer if we do not do our job as Americans and as preppers. You have to know the truth. You have to pay attention to what's going on. You have to understand it. You need, just like I do, to spread the word of truth. That's what this channel is about. That's why I say get that URL address, get that internet address, copy it, share it with others so they can learn the real truth. Because if they don't, this is what's going to happen. It's a prognostication. And the only reason, folks, that I, as the prophet of prepping, okay, who put something in my coffee, right? Okay. The only reason I can say this is it's every bit as true to say what I'm about to say as it's true to say no tyranny has ever been voted out of office, right? Because the mainstream media is going to, in our case, act as the historical record of events, transporting us from the 2016 timeframe till the 2050 timeframe, right? If we Americans, we patriots, we veterans do not succeed in stopping them, the mainstream media, the leftist lunatics, if we don't succeed in our attempts, folks, then we will see firsthand, folks, how politicized lies will supersede actual events, right? If we don't win this, then they will record for history for all time that the Trump-Russia collusion and election interference were real. They will keep and put down that right-wing violent extremists were real. They'll forget all about the left-wingers, folks. They will record that parents were terrorists for stopping their children from being trans activists, right? They're going to teach that January 6th was an actual insurrection masterminded by Trump. They will, folks, say free speech had to be removed because it was too dangerous. It's just too dangerous, free speech. And they'll probably go into some kind of details that it was snuck in there by radicals and those terrible white supremacists, right? They're going to teach folks in the future that Joe Biden was the greatest president who saved the world with his Build Back Better social economic brilliance, right? Gender nullification ended homophobia, right? And racism ended with critical race theory, thanks to people like Joe Biden, right? And they defeated white supremacy, which was rampant with cops hunting Black Americans. Remember that, folks? Remember during the BLM riots, they were saying and promoting that cops were hunting Black Americans. They're passing that shit around, but they'll record it in books for history for all time if they win this. Can you imagine the lies that are going to be created in the future that we haven't even heard yet, and that'll be added to supplement the lies we're already being told? The lies are going to continue, folks. The lies are going to get worse. And that's why we come here to talk. This is why you support the message. Pass that message along. It's crazy, folks. Get your super chat donations in. What do you want to talk about? Chester Wolf the Griffin checks in with a $5 super chat donation. He says, I was able to watch 2,000, you know what? 2,000 mules. It was put together very nice. The evidence was undeniable. Now, here's the thing, folks. Here's what I have to say about the truth. When you hear the truth, you know it. When you see the evidence, if it's real, you believe it. You just know it. From your balls to your bones, you just know it. If you don't have balls, then substitute other body parts, right? You know it. Top to bottom, back to front, left to right. You know it. This movie, this documentary that was created, the 2,000 Mules, it was done professionally. And the information that is supplied demonstrates beyond a shadow of a doubt, what has happened to our country and where we're headed in the future if we don't stop it now. And the only way to stop it, folks, is to become activists. Get active. Once you take one step, hell, you can take another, right? You get up off your hands and knees and you stop crawling around and you start walking. Then you can start running, right? Start using your hands and you figure out, hey, these things work. Start using your mouth and you realize, oh yeah, I can say things. I can affect change. Us patriots, us veterans are becoming incredible activists, folks. That's right. You have already started, and I want to encourage you to continue. That's why they're silencing us, folks. That's why they've got to silence us. That's why they have to censor us. They don't like us talking. They don't like us talking about cerveza bug. They don't like us talking about Jim Jones juice. They are now threatening to censor and silence us for talking about Ukraine in ways other than the sanctioning body of lying bureaucrats and politicians in Washington, D.C. think. They're going to have their minister of propaganda. They're going to have their disinformation governance board, their ministry of truth, unless you and I speak up now and keep speaking up. And we keep making huge demands that truth be understood, truth be known, and we should be allowed to put our truth out there. I can put mine out there and some other Democrat can put theirs out there. People are going to believe what they believe, but silencing me and you is wrong, and they know it. But that's their weapon, folks. That's their tool, and they're going to use it. Don't fall for it. Anyways, great super chat donation topic. Thank you very much, Chester Wolf. This one just made me laugh. Let's have a little bit of fun. Meghan McCain wrote a book. I don't know if she's a mother or not. Jill Biden, I think, is a mother of some kind of thing. Jill Biden, together, folks, they've written books. They each wrote a book. You know, Meghan McCain, son of Senator John McCain, and then Jill Biden, wife of Gigi Biden, diaper changer of Gigi Biden. Together, folks, they sold less than 500 books. I know, folks, they've sold less than 500 books. If I wrote a book and sold it for $5, I know in one night we could sell more than 500 books on this broadcast. If I said, we're going to have a book buying, book selling fiasco, come here. Or if I wrote a short book and put it on Amazon, I'm sure we would sell more than 500 copies in one day at $5 a shot. I guarantee it. We have folks well over 1,000 subscribers on Patreon that spend $2 a month to support this channel, some even more. And that's awesome, folks. But yeah, they can't get one person to buy one book, 500 between two of them. That is how unpopular they are. Understand, folks, their message is incredibly unpopular. The Democrat leadership in Washington, D.C., at every state is incredibly unpopular. Hillary can't fill a high school gym. The president of the United States can't fill a high school gym. He can't even get people to wave at him from the side of the road unless it's with one finger. And the people that do show up on the side of the road, yeah, they're waving one finger, holding up "Let's go Brandon" and "Fuck Joe Biden" signs. Those are the only people that come out to greet these clowns. Literally, I'm not exaggerating. And folks, when people do come out to support President Jackass, there's usually one or two and they're wearing masks and they're complete freaking idiots, right? There's not masses and throngs and crowds. In fact, President Trump was at the Kentucky Derby over the weekend. And the people went nuts for him. They're there for a horse race. But since President Trump showed up, they're screaming and yelling. If he does a rally, a political rally, people show up by the tens of thousands. Anywhere in the country, people will drive for days to go see the man and support his message. Isn't that incredible? It's totally incredible, folks. Totally. And these two idiots, right? The president's wife, they can't sell 500 books, much less fill a super stadium. That's how incredibly popular your message is, folks. Your message of freedom is incredibly popular. And the left knows it and they hate it. And that's why they're trying to censor and silence us. Let me make sure we're good here. Let's see. Okay, get rid of that. Get rid of that. Hey, everybody, we're back. Get your super chat donation in super chat. It's your chance to ask a question. We're at an hour and almost 20 minutes. That means we got 40 minutes left on this Mother's Day SNL Zoo special. We'll go at least, folks, at least 2 hours. If you want, you guys can keep me here longer, or we can just wrap it up at 2 hours, but we've got another 40 minutes, and we're going to fill that with action-packed quality information, because this coming week, folks, they're telling us what they want. They want social unrest in your neighborhood, in your world. And they want war over in Europe. That's what they're telling us, folks. Literally, that's what they're telling us. Now, the Democrats are incredibly unpopular, as discussed. They don't support the president, his wife. They don't support rhino Republicans like Liz Cheney. She actually has the Democrat Party campaigning for her in her state. Yeah, she's a freaking rhino, all right. They've got no one supporting them, folks. So they've got no platform other than war and screwing us over with inflation and shortages. So they leaked the document. They leaked Samuel Alito's majority opinion that was written as a draft, meaning the first draft, and then they go through and they fine-tune things. But essentially, the opinion was, Roe v. Wade, we're going to toss it out and say, every state, you're responsible for you. So, hey, by the way, left-wing idiots, not only is this channel satire, but your voice about freedom of choice. Go to your state and tell your state you want it. What they don't like is they don't have top-down leadership in Washington, D.C., pushing everything from a centralized power location. That's what the Supreme Court is giving up. Interesting. So the Democrats thought they would use this to vulcanize their people and make Democrats come out in support of the president and in support of their Democrat senators and in support of their Democrat representatives in DC. Well, guess what, folks? CNN has come out with their poll, and they have found that the leaked opinion on abortion, Roe v. Wade, doesn't change their outlook for the 2022 election. People, folks, whether they're upset or not, aren't going to change their vote. They're already going to vote out the Democrats. They've had it with this shit. The ones you'll see are on the street, the most radical of radicals, who are being supported financially, funded by, and encouraged by the most radical of the Democrat Party. And that's what the media is going to show. They will put 50 people in a camera frame and try and make it look like they're filling Washington, D.C. That's all they have, folks. A couple of hundred people. You know, it was a couple thousand people with BLM in this city. Then they'd move them to another city. Then they'd move them to another city and raise holy hell and try and make it look like the whole country's falling apart. Oh, they did billions of dollars in damage. That's true. But there aren't that many of them. If it became hunting season for felons, you know, like a purge of felons out on the street causing problems, it could be ended pretty quick. And folks, a CNN poll shows that they're not getting any traction with this Roe v. Wade nonsense. They're not getting traction. They're not getting support. So what does that tell you as a prepper, you as a thinker, you as a patriot? Get ready for more false flags. Get ready for physical conflict between United States troops, maybe the Air Force, maybe the Navy, engaging Russia or engaging China. Are you aware now that not only does the United States have carrier groups down by Taiwan, and of course China does as well, but now Japan. Japan has a carrier group down there. And Japan and China do not like each other. Are they racist for that, by the way? Or do they just not like the Chinese? Is it racist? Or no, they've just been enemies for thousands of years. 3 carrier groups. Now, what is a carrier group? It consists of an aircraft carrier. It consists of destroyers, frigates. We don't really have battleships anymore the way we used to. I'm sure there's some submarines cruising around there. Getting ready for conflict, folks, in the South China Sea. That could be the next shoe to drop. Look out, folks. On the international level, false flag and war. Here domestically, false flag and civil war. And they're going to continue to antagonize us. They're going to continue to punish us. How can they punish us? Screwing up the power system. How can they punish us? Screwing up gasoline, because we rely on that. How can they punish us? Screwing up the food supply, the infrastructure, the delivery system. Now, local news stations from around the country are starting to report that food banks are having empty shelf issues. Is this time to prepare, folks? When the local mainstream media starts to cover this, right? It's interesting, folks, that San Antonio, Texas, their mainstream media, local affiliates are reporting empty food banks in San Antonio. Well, that's a Republican state, right? Similar reports are coming out of Florida that their food banks are out of food. That's a Republican freedom state. How long until, folks, every city in the country is having its mainstream media affiliates begin reporting that food banks are out of food? What is this an indicator of, right? Will the shortages that result in, I don't know, will the shortages then result in increased stocking up on foods by preppers and patriots and, veterans, right? The more they report, the more people will go out and buy, creating more shortages so they can report on it more. Will local grocery stores, folks, see even more reduced inventories? Will their inventories shrink even further? Now, we had a food shall we say, distribution specialist who's a member here, say, hey, we got 45 to 90 days, or 60 to 90 days, or 75 to 90 days worth of food, right, in their warehouses. And he says every month it goes down, right? They ask for, say, 50 cases and they get 40 or 30 cases. They ask for 20 cases and they get 15 or 12 or 10. They're not being replenished. So the same thing we're seeing is happening with food banks, which a lot of people donate to. They donate money, they donate food, it goes to the food bank, and they give it away to people who need help. They're running out of food. Is it because people are less generous, or is it there's less food out there? Could it be that people are not evil, bad people for not being generous? They're not evil, bad people for wanting to stock up and prepare, right? There's a lot of different things going on here. And, blaming veterans is about the most stupid thing I've ever heard. You don't have to be a veteran to see there's a freaking problem, and you're not a bad person for wanting to stock up, right? But, maybe we should turn to the president. Maybe we should turn to the president and say, Mr. President, who is causing this food shortage issue? Our food banks are becoming empty. The grocery store shelves are becoming more empty. The food warehouses are not full anymore. Who's to blame? And I'm sure he's going to blame Putin, right? Of course, let's blame Putin. You had better be prepared, folks. You need to be prepared first, because hearing there's a shortage and then trying to do something about it is going to become incredibly difficult. Going to the preparedmind.club, you can get food, you can get water protection, you can get items to help you be prepared, self-defense, radios, any gear you need, it's available there. Food preparation, you can do your own food. In fact, the Prepper Patriot family I visited earlier today, they actually had a harvest right. Hey, they're like, hey, what do you think of this, John? I'm like, hey, it's a harvest right. We sell those at the preparedmind.club. They're into food preparation and preservation. It was terrific to see, folks. But people are starting to catch on and get prepared. We're starting to see more problems with the food issue. It's not that we're buying too much. It's that the government is interfering with our ability to produce the amount of food we need. And if the government is taking our energy, our fuel, and sending it, thank you very much for putting that up there, Jolene. That's right. That's our affiliate, our Harvest Right affiliate link. Copy that, right? Hit pause, write it down, and then go. You can take a look at these things, right? If our government is taking our strategic energy reserves and putting it on a ship and sending it to Europe, if our oil companies are filling ships with diesel, our diesel fuel, and shipping it to Central and South America where they make bigger profits, is it safe to assume that that effort by the U.S. government to get rid of our oil and fuel, do you think they're also getting rid of our food? Taking steps to export our food, taking steps to decrease our food supply? Oh, I guarantee it. You get the personal John guarantee on that. They've got their hands all over this. They're screwing with Russia, who is a major fertilizer supplier. What are they more interested in? Sacking and pillaging Ukraine for profit. They're more interested in that. So they would rather have a war over that than make sure that the United States of America has the fertilizer it needs to grow the crops that we have so we can feed the rest of the world. Russia and Ukraine produce a lot of grains: wheat, corn, barley, rye, grains. The United States and Canada, folks, also produce a shit pile. I've heard estimates everywhere from 60 to 80% of the world's supply. We have the right climates for growing grains, vast plains in America and the United States. Russia is even bigger than the United States with regard to how many acres it has. Now, of course, it's not arable farmland, right? but they have an incredible amount of wheat, grains, oats, etc. And same with Ukraine. So even if they are just 20% of the world's supply, taking that away from the world, right, screws up the world food supply. And then in the United States of America and Canada, if we can't get fertilizer to make more produce, to increase the yield per acre, that is taking food out of your children's mouths, your family's mouth, our country's mouth. It's more than just our country, folks. It's the whole world. The whole world is going to see some massive problems because of Gigi Biden. All right. We've got Chester Wolf the Griffin with a $5 super chat donation. And he says, I watched a documentary. It was about coy goats. They are neither male nor female. Does that about sum up the LGBTQ and being gender neutral? Yes. And I've gotten into this discussion again lately with people about soy, about the chemicals that they want us to put on our bodies, the chemicals they want us to put in our bodies via the water system and the food system. This is why I strongly recommend a water filtration system that we sell on the preparedmind.club. Chemicals, folks, affect our bodies, right? Whether you're a girl or a boy is a switch, right? I'm sorry, no, that is chromosomes. But how masculine you are, how feminine you are, whether you grow boobs, whether you grow facial hair, right? You give a woman testosterone, it's a chemical. It's a hormonal chemical, and women can grow facial hair. Men can grow breasts. It's disgusting, but, moves. They can, if you give them enough estrogen. Frogs, there's entire frog populations out there that are jacked up because the local water supply is full of chemical hormones. Yeah, so these coy goats, right? They're neither male nor female. Boys and girls growing up now, they are not certain of who they are because they're being psychologically abused by their teachers. Literally psychologically abused by their teachers. And then their chemicals don't give them a strong indication of what they are. When I was growing up as a young man through school, starting about 6th grade, you start noticing girls. You start noticing that they have parts that are different than yours, and you start deciding that that's a good thing, right? You want women as a man, and women, they want men, right? They're attracted that way. That's how that shit works. You start screwing with someone's chemicals, it gets in their brain, they start going the wrong way. That's what this is about, folks. They're chemically engineering an androgynous society that is not interested in, shall we say, our biological roles. Wild world, folks. Wild, wild world. Now, we got Dior's back with a 1911. That's 45 ACP to me and you. The 1911. Well, they do make a 1911 pistol, automatic handgun sidearm in 9mm. They make it in 40. They make it in other calibers, right? 38 Super. Those of you that remember that caliber, it's still around. The 1911. Great number. One of my favorite numbers. You know what? Yeah, I love my Gold Cup. I've got a Series 70 Gold Cup Colt in 45 ACP. It is incredible to shoot, right? Anyways, let's move on with what yours has to say. It says, I'm driving through Wyoming to deliver this load of parcels for FedEx. I can't help but notice billboard advertisements that say, dump Liz. She really shot herself in the foot. Oh, this is incredible, folks. Yeah, Liz Cheney ran on her family name. She is Dick Cheney's daughter. Dick Cheney was the vice president of the United States under George W. Bush. Dick Cheney was also the Secretary of Defense under Ronald Reagan. And then George H.W. Bush. Dick Cheney. So yeah, Liz runs on his coattails as being a pro-America conservative. But she has done nothing but act like a Democrat in word and deed. And nobody wants to support her. She's losing hugely, folks, in her state of Wyoming. I mean, of all states to pretend to be a Republican and not, you think the people of Wyoming haven't noticed? And so there is huge effort by the people to get rid of the bitch. And as a congresswoman, right, or congressman, you are up for vote every 2 years. There's no break. Every election, you're up. Yeah, her time is almost up, folks. It is so bad for her that Democrats, right, they will all vote for Liz Cheney and then try and get as many Republicans to come over with them. That's what this is about, tricking the voters. Unbelievable. Shot herself in the foot and then some. Melody Dawn checks in with a $5 super chat donation. Thank you, Melody, very much. She says, I'm getting buzzed. My message to John. She says, $5, you're too damn handsome. Thank you very much, Melody. I appreciate the compliment. I'm just a regular guy. Oh, man, that's embarrassing. I appreciate the compliment. I really do. If I could turn my rugged good looks into a political message and get the world to pay attention and start preparing, I would. I can't really do that. I can just be me. Anyways, thank you very much, Melody. I appreciate it. I want everyone to get the message out, right? If you know, I've often said that if I was a pretty woman and I took this same message to the internet, I would probably do a lot better. But there's 100 of us guys, this goofy veterans out there. And so, to the extent that looking nice helps, that's great. Sounding nice helps. But being enthusiastic, right, is so important. So use your enthusiasm. It increases your believability in the message. Having a good argument, know your facts. That's really important. And not everyone can be a 6'6" blonde giant and do what they do, but I'll do my best. Thank you again. Now it's on the Red Pill Files. I saw a super chat donation, and there it is. Super chat donation from Red Pill Files. It's a 556. He said, hey, John, how about airplanes crashing into food warehouses and other burnings down around the country? What is going on? This is great. Uman, our blue wrench having mother, right? Uman, who is a moderator here, ended up doing a bunch of research with Steve. I'm just going to call him Steve, another patriot researcher, another patriot spreader of the good news. They did a bunch of research on these food warehouses and food production facilities and said, hey, right? Like the airplane ran into a warehouse. It didn't run into like a General Mills building and set it on fire. Now, these are mostly, Uman did his research. These are mostly small businesses, mom and pop. And sometimes, they ran into a truck warehouse or the shop. Now, I've also been corrected and said, hey, well, that was a mom and pop butcher house. A lot of people in that area use it, right? They process a lot of people's private livestock, whether they're hogs or cattle. And I understand, the town I came from in Northern California had two really well-known, well-established private butchers, right? They're private meat processors. It is strange that we had that many fires. It is strange, I think, that there are that many accidents with trucks ramming or planes ramming or explosions occurring or fires happening. I get it. At the same time, these particular facilities aren't so big that they're going to cause a shortage of food. Now, the FBI came out and said, hey, there seems to be a conspiracy here, and we're going to be investigating it. It's almost like they wanted to use that to scare people. I don't want people to be afraid. This is not fear porn. Get prepared or you're all going to die. It's get prepared. Times are going to get very tough. Get prepared. Shit has hit the fan. Get prepared. The regime in Washington, D.C. is anti-American. It is anti-freedom. It is anti-constitutional. It is anti-God. And you don't have to be a big religious person. You don't have to be an evangelist. You don't have to be out on the street corner with a sandwich sign on you, waving Bibles in the air. You can just know that they're anti-God. And if you're anti-God or gut, if you're anti-God, then you're an evil bastard. You're a bad person. You're evil. You're the adversary of humanity. But that's what the political left is. Essentially, they're just coming right out and saying, yeah, we're bad. We're anti-God, anti-good. Words have meanings. Anyways, thank you, Red Pill Files. What is going on? There's been accidents. Is it going to stop us? Is that the real problem? No. The real problem is Washington, D.C. Not veterans, not preppers, not hardworking Americans. It's Washington, D.C. Those are great super chat questions and comments and compliments. Let's get them in, folks. We're down to the last 20 minutes. What do you guys want to talk about? We got Tony Bonang with a $10 super chat donation. He says, hey, John, I watch every video, but don't get to make it to your live ones. Here's my pittance for your good work. Keep it up. Dude, thank you very much for the excellent donation. It is a generous donation, and no one donation, folks, makes everything happen, right? We have some little teeny donations. We get some medium ones. We get some big ones. They all count. They all add up. They all matter. It all helps get the message out. I'm glad you were able to make it to this live stream. Folks, understand it's the message that is so critical. It is the voice. We have built this network by me coming here and then you going, hey, I like this stuff. I'm going to share this thing. So yeah, sharing our messages, sharing the internet address, send it text, send it Snapchat, send it Messenger, send it Signals. Any way you send it, it gets the message out. Get prepared. You guys are the ones responsible for this channel's growth. I'm sure YouTube used to have something to do with it, but it truly is our networks. Who do you know? And how strongly do you believe that we need to get prepared? Crazy Uncle checks in with a $5 super chat donation. He says, prepper tip. And this is what Crazy Uncle is good for every week is his prepper tips. He says, aspirin, sudden change in diet, no more caffeine, nicotine, added stress, lack of able dental hygiene, all equals headaches. There you go, folks. Now, yeah, when shit hits the fan, you're going to get pretty much a quick dietary change. You're going to switch over to, oh shit, we can't get food. Let's get into our prepper chow, our Armageddon chow, right? And if you don't have coffee or tea to replace the caffeine that you normally take, if you get more stressed out, you put lack of able dental hygiene, brushing your teeth. There's so many things, folks, that make our bodies healthier, less stressful, etc. And you take all that away, you get headaches. So aspirin, would extra strength migraine Excedrin be better than aspirin? Well, actually, extra strength Excedrin is aspirin, Tylenol, and caffeine all together. That'll replace your coffee. That'll reduce your headache. And the aspirin, I think, is probably really key for health. Aspirin has the effect of thinning the blood. So if you're having a stroke, if you're having a heart attack, the first thing they recommend you do is take some aspirin. Or if you think you're having a stroke or a heart attack. I'm not a doctor. Don't even play one on TV anymore. But aspirin, I've been led to believe by the biggest experts, is it has a health benefit. In fact, many doctors began putting people on therapeutic aspirin intake or aspirin therapy to act as a blood thinner for health purposes, to help break up plaque, right? To reduce the effect of stroke, to reduce the number of strokes people get. Aspirin has some incredible positive effects. So I actually am on an aspirin program. I take an aspirin every day or every other day for general health purposes. And, well, I have very few headaches. Good stuff there. Thank you, Crazy Uncle, for that great super chat donation and that great prepper tip. And Melody Dawn is back. And with another $5. She says, here is another $5, you handsome fellow, you. Semper Fi, much heart, much love and respect. God bless you. Thank you again, Melody. Sounds like you got into some of the good stuff, the good juice. It's embarrassing. I don't take compliments really well, but thank you very much. In addition to aspirin, I do recommend keeping alcoholic beverages around because it is a stress reducer, and alcohol also tends to thin the blood a little bit. It's an antidepressant, has antidepressant effects, or you could say it has depressant effects. It helps calm you down, help put you in a better mood, etc. Thank you again, Melody. Very much appreciated. And folks, believe it or not, right here, Remy Marsh checking in from the Netherlands over in Europe. Thank you, Remy. He has a €20 super chat donation. He says, keep up your work, Remy. I will. And again, I appreciate every single donation because it keeps this network on. Well, right now I'm in Mom's office, but I'll be back first thing in the morning and take a red eye out and be back at the Prepared Mind bunker or Studio B tomorrow. Studio A, we're getting some more work done on it. Not that it's my office or anything, but, we're getting some more work done on it. And then they'll allow me back in later. Anyways, Ramy, let us know how everything is going in Europe. What the heck is going on in Europe, Ramy, if I may? Because you can talk to the world right now. What's going on with the Jim Jones juice and the boosters? What's going on with the attitude? Do people in the Netherlands want to go to war with Russia? Or are they just opposed to countries invading one another? Do the people of the Netherlands understand that, or do they have the opinion that rich Western European oligarchs are basically trying to control Ukraine, and they want to punish Russian oligarchs? What's going on, man? What do people believe over there? You can let us know. And just like people in America or Australia or Argentina or Brazil or Canada or Mexico, just like anyone else from around the world, by sharing your opinions and what's going on in your neighborhood right now on the Prepared Mind channel, on our Sunday Night Live, on our Zoo show, you help people get a better understanding of what the heck is happening. All right, we got Crazy Uncle back with a $10 super chat donation. He says, food for thought. With the price of diesel reaching over $6.55 a gallon, think about this. It takes a tractor going around a field 5 times at least to make a bale of hay. Thoughts? This is fascinating. I've seen a lot of hay. I've bought a lot of hay. Back when I was married, we would get 2 semi-loads of hay, folks. So 2 semis would have to drive from the hay ranches to my palatial estate that I no longer own. Anyways, hey, it takes a lot. You've got to prepare the field. That's a tractor driving around. There's 1 time. Then you've got to plant the field. That's 2 times. You got to plant all the seed. Then you got to irrigate it, right? And they typically do that with flood irrigation, or the ground is prepared and it gets rained on. And then they've got to cut or swath the hay. And then they have to turn the hay once with the hay rakes, turn the hay twice with the hay rakes. Then they've got to go around the field with another tractor and bale it with a hay baler. And then you've got to come up with a stacker shuttle. Right? I counted 7 times that I can think of in the process. Now, if you've got hay cut on the ground and they turn it with the hay rake and it gets rained on again, then they'll just turn it again. But yeah, it's incredible how many times, and that's just for hay. Every crop out there, folks, requires tractors to drive around in circles. And the cost of fuel tripling now in some cases, and in some areas. The cost of food is going to skyrocket. The cost of feed, right? To feed cattle, to feed hogs is incredible. Cornfield, they got to prepare, run the tractor. They got to plant, run the tractor twice. Then they irrigate. Then they run a corn harvester chopper through. There's 3 on a cornfield. There's an incredible amount of times that every tractor has to drive back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. We've got to do that, folks. How many times? Every acre has to be driven around. We drive in a straight line from one direction to another. They just drive back and forth all day. Farmers do an incredible amount of work. They spend an incredible amount of money to feed us. And when I worked in the oil industry in the late 90s, I was really impressed with the dedication, the patriotism that farmers have. Yeah, that's their job, that's their livelihood, but they love farming. It takes a special kind of mind, a special kind of person to dedicate themselves to acres of dirt and getting food out of it. It's incredible, incredible stuff. We got Dior's back with a 762 super chat donation. And he says, as Brian Johnson from AC/DC would say from the Back in Black album, have a drink on me. Brian Johnson, lead singer of AC/DC. Yeah, they had a great song, Have a Drink on Me. Will do, Dior's. Right now, I wouldn't say Mom is completely dry, but I don't have my bottles of scotch with me. But I'll be back and I'll be sure and have one, and I'll remember that, man. I'll remember, have a drink on me as I put down a scotch. I like my Scottish water. We got Shelly Chavers checking in with a $5 super chat donation. She says, Cat Slave asked this in the chat. What do you do when you tell people what's coming, but they won't listen? What do you do when you tell people what's coming, won't listen? I like to ask questions. You know, sometimes I'll just tell people, hey, man, did you see that? Did you see what that person just said? Or did you hear what that person just said, right? Hard to kind of see with my ears. But we like to say, did you see that? Did you see the news? Did you hear what that person said? We're going to have food shortages. That's the president of the United States. So I'll say this. I'll go, are you a Democrat? They'll be like, yeah, I'm a Democrat. I go, well, your Democrat president just said we're going to have a food shortage. Why aren't you a prepper? Are you a Republican? Yeah. Well, your enemy, the president, right? Your political adversary, the enemy, just said there's going to be a food shortage. Do you doubt his word? Right? Have you seen the fuel prices? Have you seen the inflation? And you're doubting that there's, you know, I like to ask the question. You say, what do you do? I ask the question. If I tell him, hey, man, you better get prepared. And he's like, I'm not going to listen to that. And I go, think there's not going to be a food problem with the fertilizer, with the cost of fuel? And I'll throw it out there, folks, just to see the reaction. I'll say, have you heard that, almost 20 different food supply places have been either burned or hit or crashed? Have you heard about that? And they'll go, no. I go, maybe, do you think you should take a look and find out? Or do you think you should just, put your head back in the sand and pretend like you don't know nothing? I'm not that way, John. You don't get to say that shit to me. Well, yeah, I just did. I challenge you, man. Next time I see you, let's have a discussion about this. And that's a great one, folks. When you see somebody and they doubt you or they don't do anything, say, hey, look, I want to have a really cool talk with you because I need your opinion. Will you do me a favor and look into the food shortage issue? And next time we see each other, tomorrow at work, or hey, this week and then this weekend, check it out. And then next week when we take our sandwich break at work, let's have a talk. I want your opinion on this, right? You could say, you could say, I really value your opinion. What do you know about this? I really value your opinion. Can you look into it and get back to me? And I don't think it's a bad compliment. I value people's opinion, folks, whether I think they're right or wrong, because in either case, I get feedback. I find out, I go, well, you don't agree with me. What makes you think that it's a good idea, right, to protest outside the Supreme Court Justice's house. How is that a good thing? Right? I value your opinion. I need to know what you're thinking because I want to understand, folks, both sides of the argument. I have my opinion. They have their opinion. And I want to know because when shit gets really nasty, I want to know what that stupid son of a bitch coming down the street with a rifle is thinking. I want to know what his perspective is because he is dangerous. He's coming down the street and he's got a rifle. And I want to know what the fuck he's thinking. Does he think I'm a bad guy? Right? What's his deal? And so, Shelley, that's a great question to ask, right? And I don't know who Cat Sleeve is. It's really hard. I can barely follow your questions, but I'm glad that you're there. Yeah. What do you do when you tell people what's coming, but they won't listen? Great question. I ask them more questions. I challenge them or try to. It's good stuff. What a Sunday. Happy Mother's Day. Happy SHTF Mother's Day. Here we are. This is a good one, right? This is a Mother's Day fun one. Are you ready for this? Over in Afghanistan, the Taliban, remember that? That's the terrorists that the United States government said our military should go in and kick the fuck out of them and take them out of power in Afghanistan. We're going to free the people. We're going to free the women so they can vote and go to school. And so women can have a say, so women can participate, so women can get educated, so women can be free. And then Joe Biden did this, folks. He gave $85 billion in military equipment to the Taliban, gave them back the country on a silver platter. And now for Mother's Day, the Taliban has offered adult women in Afghanistan a head-to-toe burqa. That's right, folks, right? Women in Afghanistan now have to wear the burqa. My body, my choice. They don't care. You see, this is how tyrants think. Afghanistan, over there, they have the Taliban, and that government doesn't give a shit what the people think. Men or women, old or young, person of color or not. Guess what? They don't give a shit. It's their way or they're going to fuck you up and beat your ass. That's what they're doing to women in Afghanistan. What are they going to do in this country? Well, our government will arrest you. They will double your taxes. They will fine you. They'll try and take your children from you. They're going to do whatever they want because they're just as tyrannical as the Taliban. They just exercise their tyranny in a different fashion. So yeah, we went to war in Afghanistan to free the people from tyranny. Now, 20 years later, the United States government, under the leadership of Joe Biden, they want tyranny here. No more First Amendment, no more Second Amendment, no more Fourth, no more Fifth. They don't like the Ninth or the 10th. In fact, they don't like any of your rights. And they want to tell you, go get the Jim Jones shoes, get your booster. They want to tell you, you can't be free. It's incredible. You can't travel. You can't do this. You can't get your hair cut. I mean, the fucking temerity. You can't get a haircut because you're going to spread disease. How many diseases are out there, folks? And I'm not just saying how much staphylococcus, how much MRSA, how much E. coli, right? How much botulism, how much salmonella. It's everywhere. You're spreading disease, cold, cough, snot. Guess what, folks? They decided, I'll have more on this in this week, but they've decided that it's just the flu. We're going to have to treat it, cerveza bug, like it's just the flu, and just have an annual vaccination for it. Have fun with that, you bunch of losers. I'm not getting that shit, but it's not the people that got the Jim Jones juice are losers. They just weren't thinking all the way. They had faith in the government where they were so scared. That's tyranny, folks, when the government scares you into doing something that is risky and dangerous to your health. Brad June checks in with a $5 super chat donation. He says, can't do much this time, John. Business is suffering. No orders. Hey, Brad. Hey, man. That's not good. I wish we had your business name. I would send people your way. Folks, we got to start supporting each other. Stop buying our shit at Walmart. We need to find mom and pop businesses and do what we can to help them, whether it's a food business or anything. And it's so hard to do because Amazon is so convenient and Walmarts are everywhere. Right? And Piggly Wiggly, they love to do their buy one, get one specials or whatever fucking Piggly Wiggly does. Right? Or Safeway or your Kroger's or your Publix or whatever food store you have. Winn-Dixie's. We've got some problems. Big problems. Businesses are suffering. While there's trillions of dollars in money that the government just takes and throws out into the banks, the money doesn't trickle down to little people. It doesn't. And the purchasing power of the money that's out here is disappearing. And so the Federal Reserve says, let's raise interest rates by 0.5 percentage point, 50 basis points, if you will. So they're making it harder for people to borrow money. And the more you borrow, hey, your interest rates are going up. It makes buying things more expensive. So you have less disposable income. So you can't go to little mom and pop businesses. It's forcing people to buy shittier and shittier food. This happened back in the 70s, folks. This happened in the 1930s. This happened in the 1890s. Did you know that there have been economic recessions and depressions going back all the way through time? It happens. And it's always because a corrupt government and monetary system is at fault. I want to talk about one more thing while we're finishing up. We're at the 2-hour mark, and we're going to keep going if there's super chat donations. And there's another one. Holy cow. We'll keep going as long as there's super chat donations. Otherwise, I'm going to go give my mom a kiss on the forehead and grab a cup of coffee and get my flight. Anyways, we got Dior's back in the house with a 556 super chat donation. He says, I'm not a racist. My guns are all black. Hashtag Black Guns Matter. I tell you, folks, I know so many people of every racial persuasion. I see them all the time on the street. I see them in the store. High five, knuckle bump. Hey, man, what's happening? Or hey, nice lady, what's happening? People from India, Pakistan, Africa, African Americans, Hispanics, Mexicans, people of color, people who don't have any color. It doesn't matter. But it really is great when we can take their slogan and turn it around to demonstrate how fucking stupid they are. Of course, Black lives matter. So do white lives, right? White's a color. Am I a person of color? You know, it's fun to say shit like that to trigger them. Gotta love triggering people of the left persuasion. Elon Musk is continuing to trigger the shit out of them. And holy moly, that looked like a Bay Area Badger. Bay Area Badger with a $4.99 super chat donation. He says, how do you long-term store rice in 5-gallon buckets? Food saver bag, Mylar bag, or no bags? O2 absorbers in the bags or none at all? Happy Mother's Day in the chat. And yeah, happy Mother's Day to everyone. Long-term rice storage. Well, what's long-term? 5 years, 10 years, 25 years? The best way is a completely hermetically sealed, can, and then you put the silica desiccate in, the oxygen absorber. You can do it with plastic buckets, and Mylar is kind of, it's a plastic, right? So any plastic bag is great. It's best to use food safe plastics that don't have BPA or bisphenol A, which is a chemical put in plastics, which is a synthetic estrogen. So try and minimize contact with that sort of stuff. But, buckets, you can fill a bucket with rice, food grade bucket preferred, and drop in a moisture absorber. And once that bucket's sealed, you're good. I had a I bought my mom back when I was in high school. This is what a prepper kind of guy I am. I bought her a seal-a-meal, which is a way to take food and seal it in the plastic. And we still have them, of course. But sealed stuff up. I found a bag of rice it's probably 8 years ago, right before my divorce, that I did a seal-a-meal bag of rice in like 1985, 1986. The rice was still good, right? It was kind of beat up and powdered and pulverized a little, but I ate some raw and I think I cooked a little bit. Rice lasts forever. All you have to do is keep it dry. And it works. It's great. Terrific. Great hearing from you, Bay Area Badger. Everyone, be prepared, be intelligent, be smart, be safe. Hey, chance favors the prepared mind. Incredible. And I want people to understand that traveling to other countries is now becoming more dangerous. There is a serious investigation going on at a Sandals resort where 3 Americans have been found dead. They were found in bathrooms, vomiting, having convulsions, dead. Because times are getting tight in other countries. They're taking alcohol. This is what is surmised, because over the past several years, it's happened a lot. Alcohol is very valuable over there. So they'll take a bottle of alcohol, pour out half of it or all of it, and put fake replacement in there. Other chemicals, or they're just spiking it and poisoning it, and they're poisoning Americans. They're poisoning people who travel. It's a very dangerous world, folks. I am not big on this idea of going to Mexico resorts. In fact, I got in a little heated discussion the other day when someone was like, I want to go to Mexico. Who wants to go? I'm like, oh, I would love to go to Cancun so that a bunch of drug warlords can come to the hotel at a major resort and at gunpoint rob the guests. I'll pass. Thank you very much. Oh, that doesn't happen, John. You're just being paranoid. Oh, yeah, really? Really? Tell that to the people who fucking had a gun stuck in their face and told to hand over their wallets. Right? Tell that, people aren't getting poisoned with alcohol. Really? How many people get poisoned with alcohol and don't report it? They feel like they made a mistake. It's their fault because they drank too much. Folks, I have been poisoned by some shit that came in an alcohol bottle that wasn't alcohol. Right? Blackout, land in your face, headaches for days. Oh, yeah, that's bad stuff. I've known other people, too, that have gotten that. Be very careful. Orlando checks in with a $5 super chat donation. Hey, Orlando, how you doing there, brother? He says, Biden will now and forever be synonymous with Walter the Puppet. Fuck Joe Biden. God bless America and Semper Fi, everyone. Walter the Puppet is Jeff Dunham. Jeff Dunham is the ventriloquist who has Ahmed, the dead terrorist, and he had a puppet named Walter, who was an old guy. He's had this puppet for a long time out in public. He's an incredibly famous ventriloquist comedian, and he's also not afraid to make fun of Democrats. He tends, in my opinion, to lean a little towards the freedom side. Good for Jeff Dunham, but yeah, Walter the Puppet is Joe Biden. And Walter was always kind of a crabby old guy, and now he's just, it's a perfect, folks, the perfect stand-in as a puppet. Anyways, very true. Thank you, Orlando, for your great support. We got Crazy Uncle with a $10 super chat donation. He says, more F4T. A lot of people are not fertilizing their hayfields because the price has more than tripled for fertilizer. $500 to $1,526. You think that is bad, folks? Corn requires it for a decent harvest. Now, here's the thing, folks. Fertilizer is NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Those 3 ingredients, nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, they help the yield increase. Now, you can take a corn stalk and it shoots up, 5, 6, 8, 10 feet tall. It may have 1 or 2 ears of corn. You use the proper amount of fertilizer and you're going to get a lot more. You'll get 4, 6 ears of corn. right? But under normal circumstances, you don't get anything, right? And then again, that corn, ear of corn could be 6 inches, or if properly fertilized, could be 10 or 12 inches. It makes a tremendous difference, the amount of food that is produced. Now, right, so that's why he says corn requires fertilizer. You can plant without it. You can plant and farm. You're just not going to get as much. You still have to go over that ground anywhere from 3 to 8 times with a tractor. Now, here's the deal with alfalfa in warm climates, that 8 times I was talking about. Well, it's going to regrow, and they're going to harvest or cut, turn, bale, pick up, all that. They're going to be in that field a lot. And they'll get less and less and less out of it. Corn, wheat, barley, tomatoes, rice, right? Very labor intensive, equipment intensive, fertilizer intensive. Anyways, thank you again. Crazy Uncle for your super chat donation. What do we got coming up? Are we done? Are we going to do more? Am I going to go away? No matter what, folks, the rest of this week is going to be a shitstorm of SHTF. It's coming. There's going to be more on the war in Ukraine. There's going to be more happening in the South China Sea. There's going to be more on food, more on critical race theory, more on parents being bad. And you bet this whole Roe v. Wade thing is going to be off the hook as Democrats try and rile up their people in the 2022 campaign. The local politics are going to get bad, folks. The issue with illegal immigration, it's going to increase as we, the people, have less resources. And these illegals coming here are taking what we do have. It was bad years ago when we had no problems with supply issues. But people would tell me, John, I went down to Walmart, couldn't get toilet paper because a bunch of illegals came in, filled up their vans, and then headed back south, right? They show up here, they get money, they come and buy all our shit, clear the shelves, and take off. Take that shit back across the border. Yeah, that stuff goes on, folks. The stuff goes on. Fuel prices, look out. Other inflation, look out. American jobs, look out. As things get tight, folks, businesses will start cutting expenses. And one of the biggest single expenses is human labor. They don't see us as people, folks, or families. These corporations see us as a human resource. Let's pray that the government and some private secret corporation cartel stops looking at us as a human resource and starts looking at you and I as a food resource. That's going to be an issue in the future, folks. We've got to stay aware, got to stay informed, because chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours. Semper Fi. Godspeed. Thank you for supporting this channel. Thank you for telling others to come here. Thank you for your super chat donations. Thank you for the well wishes that I've been granted. I love coming here, folks, and sharing information with you guys. I love getting your opinions, your thoughts, your wisdom, your humor, your jokes, your quotes from patriots, and your warnings about the threats that we face. Godspeed to all of you. Semper Fi. And I'll be back bright and early. I'm going to go hop on my ride and take a red eye back to the bunker. And we'll be digging in this weekend, folks. Digging in this week all the way through to the weekend. As always, get prepared. It's not a joke. Help others understand it's not a joke so they can prepare for themselves. I'll see you soon.
because this MAGA crowd is really the most extreme political organization that's existed in American history.